Let's talk a bit more then about what is happening in Qusra. Our senior reporter, Norris Trent, is with me. And Catherine, you're on set with me today because you were in Qusra yourself. This was back in 2023. Tell us a bit about what you saw then and what parallels there may be between what was happening a couple of years ago and the scenes today.
Yeah, back in November 2023, we were filming in Qusra because there was already a cry for help from the villagers there who showed us evidence that they were being attacked by Israeli settlers who were preventing them accessing their land and threatening to kill them if they went and harvested their olives there. Now, this was back in 2023, in the months following the deadly 7th of October attacks by Hamas, and there was a huge uptick in the amount of settler violence in the West Bank as kind of part of the backlash against that. And these villagers were saying it had been going on for many years already, but back in 2023, they really started seeing their lives becoming almost impossible because of settler violence. And you can take a look at some of our report we filmed back then. Abdul Hakim can now only survey his olive groves in Qusra in the occupied West Bank from a distance. The last time he set foot there a few days ago, he was threatened and beaten.
Over there you can see the farm. That's my land. Me and my wife and my nephew, they hit us with their guns and they kicked us. And they said, if you come back here, you will die.
He tells us armed settlers have been descending onto farms more and more often. Settler attacks aren't new here, but they've surged in this region since the 7th of October. Groups of settlers on the rampage, destroying olive trees and farm equipment, and attacking farmers. So that was coming up for 3 years ago. And you saw that video footage, which was obtained by the villagers of Qusra at the time of those violent settlers coming in. They were armed and they were destroying their property, their olive trees, and threatening to kill them even back then.
And I want to talk about the role of the army in all of this, the Israeli army, Catherine, because in that footage that we saw earlier on, you can see the heavily armed soldiers there, the Israeli army saying, look, they are trying to control the situation. But there are many Palestinians who will say, actually, the soldiers could do much more. In fact, even they could be turning a blind eye or complicit to what's going on. I mean, what do you make of that?
We hear this so many times from Palestinians and international observers as well. And I've seen it myself. When we were filming in Qusra, there were Israeli troops surrounding the village, watching what was going on. The Palestinian villagers in Qusra were not able to access all of their land. They were allowed only to some of it. And that was also being watched the whole time through our filming by Israeli troops. So they definitely know what is going on here. And a lot of people say that they're more complicit in settler violence than that. Lots of the troops deployed, Israeli troops deployed in the West Bank, actually themselves live in settlements in this occupied territory. So, that, of course, that if they're settlers themselves, their sympathies are more likely to be with the settlers. To give you an idea of the numbers involved, the IDF has 26 combat battalions generally deployed in the West Bank. It can increase that number at times as well. So that's up to 18,000 active troops. And then there are actually settler reserve units. So Israelis who are living on these illegal settlements, illegal under international law, who've been formally integrated into defence formations and been given weapon and equipment by the Israeli state. So this is very much something which Palestinian villagers complain about. They say there is this complicity between the army and the Israeli settlers. And indeed, at the beginning of this situation, which has recently flared up again in Qusra, there were pictures of Israeli troops praying with the settlers there. So, the villagers are asking what kind of fair treatment can they hope to get when that's the situation they're seeing.
All right, really well explained. Thank you so much indeed for telling us a bit about your reporting back in 2023. Norris Trent for us there.